Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Dune. I'm so excited to explore this epic universe with you.
It's not just your typical sci-fi adventure, is it?
Right. It's so much more than that.
Frank Herbert really went deep, didn't he?
Yeah, he wove in these themes of ecology, politics, religion, destiny, and of course, good old-fashioned human ambition.
It's fascinating how relevant Dune remains today.
Yeah, it was first published back in 1965.
But the questions it raises about our relationship with nature, the allure of power, and the struggle between free will and destiny, those are all still very much alive.
Absolutely. And you've shared some really interesting sources with us, excerpts from the book itself, academic commentary, even some thought-provoking quotes.
Yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of get a sense of the book from all these different angles.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to synthesize all of this and try to uncover the real aha moments that make Dune so captivating.
And it's more than just captivating, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It offers this multidimensional understanding of human nature and our place in the universe.
Okay, so before we get lost in the vastness of Arrakis, let's start with our main character, Paul Atreides.
Ah, yes. The young heir thrust into an extraordinary destiny.
I was immediately drawn to his character, even in the early chapters.
Yeah, he seems like a typical bright young nobleman at first glance.
Right.
But right from the start, there are these hints of something extraordinary about him. The Gom Jabbar test is a great example of that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's this harrowing ordeal designed to assess his potential.
Right, but it goes so much deeper than that.
Oh, absolutely.
That scene really stayed with me. The intense pressure, the pain, and that chilling line from the Reverend Mother, "Sleep well, you sly little rascal. Tomorrow you'll need all your faculties to meet my gum jabbar."
It sends chills down your spine, doesn't it?
Cold.
It's like she sees something in him, something he doesn't even fully understand yet.
Right, and that potential is just simmering beneath the surface.
Exactly.
And we can't forget his mother, Lady Jessica. He's a Bene Gesserit, a secretive sisterhood with these incredible mental and physical abilities.
Oh, they're a force to be reckoned with, aren't they?
Definitely. She plays such a crucial role in shaping Paul's development, and honestly, I think her defiance is what sets the whole story in motion.
You're right. It's a fascinating choice she makes. To disobey her Bene Gesserit superiors and bear a son instead of a daughter.
It's like this act of rebellion against the established order.
Exactly. And this act of defiance, driven by love for Duke Leto, it has consequences that ripple throughout the entire story.
So it's not just a personal choice, it has these wider ramifications.
Precisely. It ultimately leads to the birth of the Kwisatz Haderach, the prophesied superhuman the Bene Gesserit have been trying to engineer for generations.
Right, the Kwisatz Haderach, this idea of a prophesied superhuman, is so central to the Dune universe.
It really is.
And then there's the setting itself. Arrakis, the desert planet.
Yeah.
Talk about harsh environments.
Oh, it's brutal.
I mean, it's basically a giant sand dune with giant worms.
Arrakis is a world of extremes. Brutal, unforgiving desert. Water is more precious than gold. And giant sandworms roam the dunes.
Yeah, they're terrifying.
But it's also the sole source of spice melange, the most valuable substance in the universe.
So you have this incredible resource, but in this incredibly dangerous place.
Precisely. It creates this fascinating paradox.
Okay, let's talk about those sandworms for a second. I mean, they are straight out of nightmares.
Right, absolutely massive.
Absolutely massive creatures that control the spice production.
They're the guardians of the spice, aren't they?
Yeah, but their relationship to the spice is what I find truly fascinating. It's not just that they live on Arrakis. They're integral to the entire ecosystem.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
It's like this weird symbiotic relationship.
Herbert created a brilliant ecological allegory with Arrakis.
Oh, absolutely.
He shows how the Fremen, the native people of the planet, have adapted not just physically but culturally to this incredibly harsh environment.
It's like they've become one with the desert.
Their entire existence revolves around water conservation, and their culture reflects this deep respect for the planet's resources.
It's almost like a warning for us today, wouldn't
How
you
about
say?
that?
Like, it makes you think about our own relationship with the environment, the way we consume resources, often without thinking about the long-term consequences.
It's a cautionary tale.
The Fremen, they understand the delicate balance of their ecosystem. They've had to learn to live in harmony with it to survive.
And their still suits are a perfect example of that.
Oh yeah, those are fascinating.
These incredible suits are designed to reclaim every drop of moisture from the body, turning sweat and urine into drinkable water.
It's just mind-blowing.
It's such a stark contrast to the wasteful ways of the off-worlders who come to Arrakis to exploit its resources.
And that contrast really highlights the different values at play.
It does.
It's amazing how much thought Herbert put into the world building. Even the language of Dune, with terms like Lisan al-Gaib,
Hmm.
the voice from the outer world, or Kwisatz Haderach, it adds another layer to this universe.
It's so immersive, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not just sci-fi jargon, it actually has meaning, a depth that reveals something about the culture and the themes he's exploring.
And those terms aren't just there for flavor. They're often laden with symbolism.
Oh, I love that.
For instance, the water of life. This potent substance derived from the sandworms. It represents transformation and the potential for both enlightenment and destruction.
Like a metaphor for the power of Arrakis itself.
Exactly. It's a potent metaphor that runs throughout the story.
Okay, so we've got this young man, Paul, with extraordinary abilities being shaped by his formidable mother, and this incredibly harsh planet that seems to hold the key to the universe's future.
It's quite a setup.
But there's also this whole other layer to the story, right? The political forces at play, the struggle for power, the intrigue.
Arrakis is at the center of a galactic power struggle.
It's a prize worth fighting for.
You have the great houses, the Emperor,
Hmm.
the Spacing Guild, all vying for control of the spice, which is essential for space travel, and therefore interstellar commerce.
So whoever controls the spice controls the universe, essentially.
Precisely.
It's a classic power struggle, but with such high stakes.
The stakes couldn't be higher.
And Paul's father, Duke Leto, is right in the middle of it. The Emperor grants him control of Arrakis, but we quickly realize it's a trap.
Right? It's a poison chalice.
So there's this sense of impending doom from the very beginning.
The Emperor knows the Harkonnens, the Atreides' sworn enemies, will stop at nothing to reclaim Arrakis.
And they're not exactly known for their mercy, are they?
No, they represent the worst aspects of humanity's potential for exploitation and cruelty.
Yeah, their leader, Baron Harkonnen, is a chilling character.
He's a master manipulator, driven by greed and a lust for power.
He's surrounded by these twisted figures, like his mentat Peter de Vries, who orchestrates so much of the Atreides' downfall.
Oh, he's a sinister character.
And then there are the Sardaukar, the Emperor's elite soldiers secretly loaned to the Harkonnens to ensure their victory.
It's a web of deceit.
It creates this web of intrigue where you're never quite sure who to trust.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's fascinating how Herbert uses Arrakis as a microcosm of our own world, wouldn't you say? He explores the dangers of unchecked ambition, the consequences of environmental exploitation, and the corrupting influence of power.
It's all there, playing out on this harsh, unforgiving planet.
It's powerful allegory.
So we've got this incredible mix of political intrigue, ecological complexity, and personal journeys.
It's what makes Dune so compelling.
It's a story that's both epic in scope and deeply personal.
And it's just the beginning. And amidst all this political maneuvering and ecological complexity, we have Paul, caught in the crossfire. He's not just fighting for survival, is he?
No, not at all.
He's grappling with his own destiny, trying to reconcile his prescient visions with his desire for free will.
It's like he's burdened with this knowledge of what might be, but he's not always sure how to change it, or if he even should.
The weight of the future on his shoulders.
It makes me think about how we often try to control our own destinies, but sometimes life throws us curveballs.
Exactly. It raises questions about the nature of choice and the limits of human agency.
Is a hero someone who fulfills a prophecy, or someone who forges their own path, regardless of the consequences?
That's a question Herbert seems to wrestle with throughout the novel.
Yeah, he really does.
He challenges our traditional notions of heroism,
Yeah.
showing us that leadership, especially when intertwined with prescience, can be a double-edged sword.
Right. It's not always clear what the right choice is.
Yeah.
Especially when you can see multiple potential futures.
And this is where the Fremen become so essential to the story.
They're such a fascinating part of this universe.
They're not just a backdrop to Paul's journey, are they?
No, they really aren't.
They're a complex society with their own rich history, culture, and beliefs.
Their adaptation to the harsh environment of Arrakis is remarkable, not just physically, but spiritually as well.
It really is.
I'm fascinated by their relationship with water. It's such a powerful symbol in the book.
Water is life on Arrakis.
They've developed these intricate rituals and technologies to conserve every drop.
There's still suits.
The way they share water.
It all speaks to their deep understanding of the planet's delicate ecosystem.
It's like they've built their entire society around this precious resource.
And their reverence for water isn't just practical, it's deeply spiritual.
Oh, yeah. It's woven into their very being.
It's woven into their language, their combat techniques, even their religion, which centers around the coming of a Messiah, a savior who will bring them freedom and lead them to a new era.
And this is where Paul's journey takes a fascinating turn, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
He becomes Muad'Dib, the Fremen Messiah, the fulfillment of their prophecy.
The one they've been waiting for.
But this blind faith, while empowering, also has its pitfalls.
It can be a dangerous thing.
It makes me think about how easily religious fervor can be manipulated, even with the best of intentions.
Precisely. Herbert doesn't shy away from exploring the darker side of religious belief.
He shows how faith can be both a source of strength and a tool for control.
Paul's prescience allows him to tap into the Fremen's hopes and dreams, but he also recognizes the potential for his leadership to become a form of tyranny.
It's a lot of responsibility for one person to bear.
There's that chilling scene where he realizes, my mother is my enemy. She does not know it, but she is. She is bringing the jihad.
It's a heartbreaking realization, isn't it?
It is.
He sees the potential for violence and destruction that his very presence is unleashing.
He becomes a catalyst for the very thing he fears.
This is where Dune moves beyond a typical science fiction narrative.
Yeah.
And delves into a profound commentary on human nature.
It transcends genre.
It asks us to consider the consequences of our beliefs, our desires, and the choices we make in the face of power.
It holds a mirror up to humanity.
He reminds us that even in a galaxy far, far away, the human heart remains the same.
We're driven by the same basic instincts.
We're driven by ambition, fear, love, and a longing for something greater than ourselves.
Those universal themes are what make Dune so enduring, so relevant to our lives today.
Okay, so we've talked about Paul's journey and the Fremen. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about the broader cultural impact of Dune.
It's had a profound influence, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's had a profound influence on science fiction, of course.
I mean, it's a classic.
But it goes even beyond that.
It really does.
It's infiltrated popular culture in ways Herbert probably never imagined.
It's influenced movies like Star Wars.
Video games,
Music.
and its exploration of environmental themes resonates more than ever in our current climate crisis.
It's incredible how a book published in 1965 can still feel so fresh and relevant today.
That's a testament to the depth and complexity of Herbert's creation.
It's a timeless story.
He gave us more than just a story. He gave us a world to explore, a set of ideas to grapple with, and characters that continue to fascinate and provoke us.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the characters, the themes, the cultural impact. But for our listener who may be discovering Dune for the first time, what are some of the key takeaways from our deep dive so far?
Well, first and foremost, Dune is a masterclass in world building. Herbert creates a richly imagined universe with intricate details about the ecology, culture, and politics of Arrakis.
It's so immersive.
It's a reminder that even in fantastical settings, the small details matter.
They really do.
They bring the world to life and make it feel real.
I love how he blends those details with complex characters and thought-provoking themes.
It's a perfect marriage of plot and concept.
It's not just about spaceships and sandworms. It's about human nature, about our relationship with power, and the choices we make in the face of adversity.
Exactly, and it challenges us to think critically about leadership. What makes a good leader? Is it charisma, strength, or something more nuanced?
It makes you question the idea of the hero and the potential dangers of blind faith.
We're often quick to put people on pedestals.
Dune reminds us that we need to be critical thinkers, to question authority, and to consider the consequences of our actions, both individually and as a society.
And ultimately, it's a story about human connection.
Oh, for sure.
The bonds that form between Paul and the Fremen, the love between Paul and Chani. These relationships transcend cultural boundaries and highlight the importance of empathy and understanding.
Even in this harsh, unforgiving world, love and connection find a way to flourish.
It's a reminder that even in the face of great challenges, even in a harsh and unforgiving world like Arrakis, human connection is what sustains us. It's what gives us hope.
It's a powerful message.
And that brings us to something I find particularly fascinating about Dune, the creative insights. Herbert wasn't just a storyteller, was he?
No, he was a visionary.
He meticulously crafted this universe that feels both alien and strangely familiar.
I'm a sucker for those technical details, and Herbert doesn't shy away from them.
Oh, he revels in them.
Like the still suit, It's not just a cool piece of technology. It's symbolic of the Fremen's connection to Arrakis and their resourcefulness.
It speaks to their ingenuity.
It makes you think about how our own technology can reflect our values and our relationship with the environment.
It's a reflection of our priorities.
Exactly.
It's incredible how he seamlessly blends those technical details with cultural and religious elements.
Right, like their reverence for water.
Take the Fremen's reverence for water, for instance. It's not just about survival, is it?
No, it's about so much more than that.
It's woven into their rituals, their language, even their combat techniques.
You're so right. Like the Krisk knife, a weapon that has to be exposed to moisture to prevent it from disintegrating.
It's a brilliant detail.
It's such a brilliant way to show their dependence on water and its significance in their culture.
It's both practical and symbolic.
It's those little details that really bring the world to life for me.
And then there's the glossary, a testament to Herbert's dedication to world building.
It's like he created an entire encyclopedia for this universe.
Terms like Sietch, the Fremen's underground dwellings, or Canley, the blood feud that drives so much of the conflict, they all add depth and texture to the story.
It's like he created a whole new language. And by understanding that language, we unlock a deeper understanding of the Fremen, their values, their motivations, their worldview.
It's a window into their souls.
It makes you want to learn more, to dig deeper into this incredibly rich universe.
And through the Fremen, Herbert explores these universal themes of adaptation, resilience, and the power of community in the face of adversity.
They're survivors.
They stand in such stark contrast to the decadent and wasteful ways of the Harkonnens and the other great houses.
Okay, so we've explored the characters, the themes, the cultural impact, even some of the creative genius behind Dune. But what does it all mean? Why should our listener care about any of this?
Dune is more than just a science fiction epic. It's a reflection of ourselves, our potential for both greatness and destruction.
It's a story that can hit you on so many levels.
It's a story that challenges us to think critically about the choices we make, the leaders we follow, and the relationship we have with our environment.
It's a story that can be read on so many levels, and each reading offers new insights and perspectives.
It's a story that stays with you.
It asks big questions, questions that are still relevant to us today, even though the story is set in this distant future.
And ultimately, it leaves us with a sense of wonder, a desire to explore further, to delve deeper into the mysteries of the universe and the complexities of the human heart.
That's the beauty of a well-crafted story, isn't it?
It is.
It stays with you, prompting you to think, to question, and to see the world in a new light.
And as Liet Kynes' father so wisely said, no more terrible disaster could befall your people than for them to fall into the hands of a hero.
It's a chilling thought.
It's a powerful reminder to be wary of blind faith, to question authority, and to think for ourselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Dune, we leave you with this final thought. How do you define heroism? What are the qualities of a true leader? And are those qualities always what they seem?
Food for thought.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.